Welcome. We're going to talk about walking bass lines. Let's get started. So if you have any chord, you can start by playing the root. So say your root is here on the 5th fret of the E string, basically an open A string, but for sake of argument, an example, we'll do the 5th fret of the E string. You can play the root and the 5th. That's with most chords, okay? Unless the chord is a flat 5, then you do the tritone. And your fingering, I would either use 1 and 3 or 1 and 2. But for whether the chord is major or minor, you can do the root and the 5th. And your octave. So there's your octave shape from 5th fret, E string to D, the 7th fret of the D string, right? So there's your octave shape, and it's across the strings. So same thing for the D chord, perhaps. 5th fret of the A string, 7th fret of the G. Your root, your 5th, and your octave. So that's our root 2. So we can also do a 4th below. The next note you want to introduce would be your 3rd. So if the chord is major, you just go 1 back on the next string. And there's your root, your 3rd, your 5th, and your octave. And that's essentially an arpeggio, and that can be moved around. So that pattern is movable. The other position would be for a minor chord. So you'd have root, 3rd, 5th, octave. So root, 3rd, 5th. And now that would be 5th fret of the E string, 8th fret of the E string, and go into your 5th, which is the 7th fret of the A string. So you have, or you can go back a fret. So you can, this is a little more tricky. You can do the minor arpeggio kind of 2 different ways. You can do it here, or you can go back. The only problem with that is that you're doing more string crossings. So that's across 3 strings now. Your 5th fret, 3rd fret, 2nd fret. That would be an A minor chord. And then also you could do a major chord with the major 3rd this way. And generally, roots and 5ths are your gateway to walking a bass line. So in practice, if you want to connect chords, you start with the roots and the 5ths. I like using Autumn Leaves as an example for a walking bass line because you can connect all the chords in a bunch of different ways. I've done a bunch of videos on it here. I have a sheet that if you send me an email, I will be happy to send you. That goes over a bunch of different ways to walk a bass line over Autumn Leaves. So you start with roots and 5ths and just go punk rock. And then a flat 5 here. And then you can also connect the chords with the roots and 5ths with a passing tone. So and then eventually you do the arpeggios. And now your arpeggios can go backwards too, or descending. And for a minor chord, it's always nice just to walk the scale for a minor chord. You can just kind of Now this bass line is supposed to be this video is supposed to be about walking bass lines, so I'll play the way I think of the really fun way to walk over Autumn Leaves. So you'd have A minor and using chromatic passing tones. So this way you just kind of walk all the way through the chords, kind of literally weaving a nice line through the entire chord progression. So you'd have A minor, D major, D dominant, and then back down, G major, C major, and then F sharp diminished, chromatic passing tone, B, and then the scale back down to E. And then that's B, and you can take that actually all the way up the neck, and it's pretty fun. A minor, D7, G major, C, walking down to the F sharp diminished. So the F sharp diminished goes, I'm playing a D sharp there, and then just walking back down. So A minor, D, G, C, F sharp, and then B. You can do a couple different things with the B. You can start to introduce some cool notes. You can even do C sharp. But roots and fifths are your gateway. I remember when I first started walking a bass line, I was just doing arpeggios all the way through. I've told this story before, but I'll say it again. In high school, I was a junior in high school, and I got a 3-page, I was playing bass in the jazz big band, got a 3-page chart, Love for Sale in E flat, and I crashed the band a couple times because I had no idea what I was doing. 3 pages, not a single note written, just chord changes. You had to figure out how to walk a bass line. And I did, and what I learned was just figuring out my arpeggios, whether the chord was major or minor. So the major chord, I did this. If the chord was minor, I did this. And if the song was fast, I was just roots and fifths, baby. I'm just kind of moving around shapes here, but you kind of get the idea. You can stick to your roots and fifths, and I say stick to roots and fifths first, arpeggios second, and once you start to do the arpeggios, you'll find the passing tones in between. Like you can do for Autumn Leaves again, A minor, arpeggio, 1, 2, 3, and then beat 4 is a passing tone, right? And now I'm here on the D7, right? And then now for the D. Hello from the UK. There's a bunch of people commenting. That's kind of cool. I'll play guitar and drums. Hello to everybody. I appreciate you all. Hopefully you find this helpful. I do have a sheet I can email you if you know, link in the bio, as they say, or whatever. If you reach out through my website, I'd be happy to send this to people or whatever. You know, just give out knowledge. That's what it's about. Great value. So. Right, and that's just the first 8 bars of Autumn Leaves. I don't know. Hope this was helpful. Probably not the most cohesive live stream. This was a little bit random, but just decided to talk about walking bass lines. It's one of my favorite topics. But like I said, if you start just with your arpeggios, the basic ones I went over, major, minor, you can, and what's cool about the bass is it's symmetrical. There's your major shape. I'll zoom in again so you can see that this is a movable shape here. There's all major chords and then all minor chords. Right? The only thing, and you can always do the root and the fifth or the fourth below. And once you start doing the arpeggios, you'll find the passing tones. But yeah, you can just punk rock it with roots and fifths. And you'll see where the passing tones present themselves to connect to the following chord just by playing through the arpeggios and realizing that, oh, I'm only one note away from the next chord, which you might be, given how a lot of tunes work. But yeah, I'm a composer. I've got a bunch of music out on all the various platforms. You follow me here. I just like doing some live streams talking about bass music. But yeah, roots and fifths. The only caveat to the roots and fifths is if the chord is a flat 5, then you got to do a tritone or a diminished chord, right? We can talk about augmented chords. Augmented chords are stacked major thirds. Symmetrical chords sound weird. Someone said slap it. I don't do much tapping. Anyways, hope this is somewhat helpful. Do I have an acoustic guitar? I've got too many guitars. I've got a lot of guitars. I have all the guitars. Play Seinfeld. Do I play Magic the Gathering? No. Hello from the UK. Hello from California. How does my bass tone? Dude, this bass tone is not that good. This is a Fernandez bass. I got this bass for free. I had to pay about $100 to get it set up, though, because it was awful. But literally, I am playing through like $200 worth of gear right now. Although I am doing my attack. I don't know. I don't particularly like the way. I mean, the bass sounds okay. But yeah. Hello to everybody here. Wow, quite a bit of people. This is cool. And I just enjoy spreading knowledge. I enjoy talking about bass. And walking the blues, learning your modes. So I think arpeggios, roots and fifths, unless it's a tritone, then it's either a diminished chord or something. Augmented chords, just play the root. Everybody just wants you to play the root anyways. So, all right. That's it. There's still a handful of people watching, I guess. So if you have any questions, ask now. I got another minute or so. Dorian is like minor. So Dorian would be like E Dorian. So Dorian, to me, I think of Dorian, I like the way what Victor Wooten said. He thought of Dorian mode as the James Brown scale. It's just a little more funky. You have like your E pentatonic, which everybody loves. Come on. How simple can you explain what modes are? Modes are a different emphasis on a different syllable. So if you're doing G major scale, and you do a G major scale starting on an E. So E minor and G major are the same. They're equal. It's just a matter of your starting position. So that's all modes are. It's just a different starting position. So G major is the same as A Dorian. It's just a matter of what your home base is. I don't know what Death from Above is. Can you take on Kurt Cobain saying he didn't learn any theory and just, yeah. It doesn't, you can, theory isn't even a thing. Theory doesn't exist. Just music exists. It's just what you call things. That's all theory is. It's just a label. I might be Tyler, but Tyler's just a sound I made with my face. The word water is undrinkable. It points to the liquid reality. So any of that stuff, any theory, if you can, it's just a way of explaining it to other people. That's all theory is. we call it theory, and people think it's supposed to be like this set of rules where it's like you can't do perfect fifths, and you absolutely can. You know, all rock and roll music is perfect fifths. What's the woo? What is he? Okay, a couple more, bro. What's the difference between playing acoustic, bass guitar, and ones? What is the difference? Oh, acoustic guitar and bass ones. Can you elaborate, please? I don't know what you mean. Acoustic guitar and bass ones. A guitar is just a bass with 2 extra strings an octave higher. I don't know what On My Way is. Top 5 guitarists. Joe Pass, Dave Matthews, Julian Lage, Anthony Boyer, and Borelli Lengreen. So apparently I'm pickle approved. But yeah, this has gone on way too long. I don't know how many people are going to end up watching this, but whatever. I'm going to post it, you know, live again talking about bass. But yeah, modes are just a different emphasis on a different syllable. You know, you're just going to start. It's a different starting note, is all the modes are. It's all one scale, just with different starting notes. You're just. That's all that means. So. All right. If anyone's got any other questions, feel free to ask now, or forever hold your peace until the next live stream, or comment on a video. But I'm going to keep posting little shorts and some live streams like this. It's kind of cool to see the interaction. Maybe I'll just do a quick improv and then wrap it up. Here we go. I'll do a blues.